Action Park
Media.
All right, let's get a mic check here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Episode 40. No gruffs given. Kindness is the language the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Kindness is the language the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Now, I'll tell you what, this Instagram algorithm, if I said that word incorrectly, I apologize. Algorithm?
Algorithm?
Algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, welcome back, Michael.
Hey, thanks, Sean.
We got Scotty in the booth. He's got a stiff drink poured, and he told me it's a holiday.
Hour-long episode.
Which I couldn't agree more. It is a holiday. It's Martin Luther King Day today, as we're recording. You're going to hear this on Wednesday. It's a national holiday, and I say rightly so. You know what I believe he represented was equality for a race that was being, what could you say, disrespected, not treated as equal, versus today where, and interesting, politically unpopular. Are you being biased against because you are politically unpopular or because you're enslaved? So I say to today, Martin Luther King Day, we celebrate. I like that, okay? Scotty's got he's got a blue label cranked right to the lip. He'll say there's ice in it. Yeah, I agree. But you still have to pour a certain amount of liquid into a glass with ice for it to reach the top. Correct? Because normally you see in the movies like Yellowstone when Kevin Costner or John Dutton sits down with Rip and they pour themselves a drink, they fill the glass a quarter full because they don't have ice in it. Now, Scotty, and I've got some stuff on like physicists and algebra and all this shit. You put the ice in, but you still fill it to the brim.
Not true. I fill it about halfway, and then I sip it because I like for the ice to melt and give a little H2O into my glass. Right. That's when you see it at full capacity.
Right. Can you take a little crank off it, just see if we can hear the ice jingle off the side? There we go. It's like fucking reindeer. It's like background music for Santa's coming to town.
Yeah. It's like my wrestling walk-in music.
Yeah, it should ring right off the top. I would love for us to edit that into the show somehow. Just an enhanced jingle.
We can maybe do that for you.
Yeah. Give me one more. Do it one more time. Oh, yeah. I mean, has a man ever had a signature sound more than Scotty?
It's great.
Shout out to Scotty's ex-girlfriend, Stella. She threw a successful event, Funny Farm City Winery in New York City. She's a hustler. I'm a hustler, baby. I just want you to know. Dave. Where's Dave? Dave. So it all started last week. Theo, who's the best dog in the world. Like, you guys have heard me talk about Theo. Theo is the best dog. Dave flew to Orlando. Theo's the best. Theo took a protest shit in Action Park Media, in the office. And it was a big runny shit. And I saw the video of it, and you'll say, what a protest. Dave's on one. I'll tell you what. Everybody, you don't see the behind the scenes, but Dave is methodical. Like, he could be a great contestant on one of those Knives Out movies. I don't think Big Brother is his scene. Like, his is more theatrical. And I think that he convinced Theo through the ether to take a protest shit in Action Park on the floor. So it's been downhill ever since. And Dave got into a fight with Mike Young this morning about a computer code. I have my own issues with Mike Young and his fucking iPhone that he uses that's 10 years old, and he's a content creator.
Yeah. He hasn't fixed it. He told you he was going to have it fixed.
I know. But he lives in Birmingham. Don't worry, Birmingham, Michigan. It's the most expensive. It's a fancy part of Detroit suburbs. Anyways, they got into a fight, and Dave's not here. And Kevin gave me the option to call Dave and ask him to come because he is technically part of the show. And I made the executive decision not to because I'm getting a little fucking tired with Dave too. I'll tell you right now. Scotty's got his vices. He's always here. I've never seen him be confrontational with anyone.
Me neither.
It's not because he's drunk, because I think people get drunk and they get more confrontational.
And I came in today and I just said, I was like, wow, this place looks great.
Yeah, well, the guys got zipped up over the break and they cleaned. Wow. They went hard.
Looks great.
It does. Yeah, I want to talk about Patty Maroon for a second. This really pulled on my heartstrings. So, Pat Big Rig, he has a son that lives in St. Louis. He's not together with his son's mother. But it looks just like an incredible relationship. Okay. So St. Louis was hosting Tampa Bay at home. Now it's very difficult for Patty to probably get to during the regular season, you don't have many off days. You get a day off. It's a Sunday. You got to be at practice on Monday. It's almost impossible. Winter break, I'm sure his little guy comes to see him, but now his little guy's playing hockey. So they flew in the day before the game against St. Louis, and Big Rig's son was playing that night. And they got there in time, and he got to go see his son's game in St. Louis, and a bunch of the guys from the team came with him, watched the game, signed for all the kids afterwards. I can't even imagine, I'm going to get choked up here, but I can't even imagine how, man, fuck, Big Rig must have felt unbelievable. And talk about his little guy and his dad's Pat Maroon, former Stanley Cup winner in St. Louis, now on a tear in Tampa, and he brings the guys to the game, and then the kids all went to the game the next day, the whole entire team. Just incredible stuff. And I want to come back to it. It makes me think again of the bubble. Anyone that puts an asterisk beside that Stanley Cup win inside the bubble, you don't know a fucking thing about professional sports. You are a person that really doesn't know much about anything. If you say that I think that was probably on record the hardest Stanley Cup that one individual team has ever had to win. Because all those guys, they didn't see their kids or their wives or their parents for 2.5 months. Some of those guys had babies born during that time where they got to fly out of the bubble for a few hours. The team sent them on a plane. They helped or supported their wife as she gave birth. I say wife because women. Did anyone hear the new owner of the Miss Universe pageant who's she's trans, I guess. Women. Scotty, we got to play this clip. We'll splice. Women. Anyways, women have babies, yes? So these guys, that Stanley Cup was a tough one to win. Anyways, Big Rig, I love him. This fucking Prince Harry book, let me just ask a question. So he named the title of the book Spare, which I heard something, and I don't know if this is correct, but in his mind, he was born for spare parts in case William needed a heart or a kidney or a liver or something. Fastest selling book in the history of publishing, okay? Or Penguin, which my book is under Penguin, but they don't print books anymore. So if you want to buy the book, you have to buy the audio or an ebook, possibly, I think. Anyways, fastest selling book in the history of publishing. This guy, who bought this book? Who bought this book? Who sat and listened to him read the audio book? Or it is insane. You know, when I think about it, Yellowstone, biggest show on television, 70 million people, right? Half the, divided country, they want that. I guess there's still a big portion of the country that likes to fill their brain with woke bullshit that is seeping shit from the spine of the book when you close it. It'll stain your coffee table with shit. I've read some of the excerpts of this thing, and it is insane. It is insane. This kid's talking about how he's got 25 Taliban kills. He was in a fucking helicopter. That's like saying you go to those farms in Texas and you shoot hogs out the window with a semi-automatic. I killed 89 fucking hogs. Yeah, it's a hog farm, bro. You're in a helicopter with a high assault rifle picking off Taliban. You don't have 25 kills because, in my opinion, you're on the gun, but there's a guy flying the helicopter, so you got to divide every kill by 2 now. I'm sure there's a safety guy. I'm sure there's an extra guy, maybe a spare part. This kid is fucking wild, off the reservation. And I can say that because I am part of the indigenous community. He is off the reservation. And anyone that bought the book should be ashamed of themselves. Now, for some reason, I wrote down, I welcome judgment. I don't know. I go in these, I'm in these weird things. And I've been out all day because I had an audition earlier, which, funny enough, so you might hear, I might not have enough ice in my glass. It's okay. All right. So, man, the world. I welcome judgment. Okay, that's one thing. So I auditioned for this movie that's filming in upstate New York, and it starts in a couple of weeks, okay? I auditioned for a role, and now they want me to read for another role. Well, what do you know? This role, okay, is essentially, it's a co-lead, best friend of the main guy, but I'm a jiu-jitsu coach. And the first scene of the audition is literally it's a jiu-jitsu, I'm talking jiu-jitsu, right? Now, Michael, you've been gone, but I'm so far down the jiu-jitsu rabbit hole. I'm submitting black belts, and I'm deep into it. All right.
I've seen your Instagram stories.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I see you, putting in the work every week.
Who ain't got jiu-jitsu? Okay. By the way, that's what the Instagram algorithm. Okay. All I do now is watch little kids do jiu-jitsu. And watching little kids do jiu-jitsu is the most incredible. They're like ants on a mission, on a non-violent mission to submit. It is the greatest. They should make a video game of kids doing jiu-jitsu. Do yourself a favor and go and watch it. But I wanted to talk about Sean Strickland a little bit. What?
I got a bone to pick with you about jiu-jitsu.
Okay, yeah.
You invited me Thursday, and then crickets come Thursday.
Oh, you know what happened?
What happened?
The studio got flooded last Tuesday, and they are still trying to fix it.
All right, well, if
I apologize.
The invitation is still there. I would like to do it one of these days.
If the studio isn't open, right now I'm working out of a garage in Van Nuys, okay? It's cold. They got mats. It's a house full of Brazilians, black belts, mother, father, daughter, boyfriend. There's an RV on the lawn where they pack it in with migrant Brazilian jiu-jitsuers. Okay, this house is wild. I don't want to drive to Van Nuys, so this studio needs to fucking open. So I trust me, it threw me for a loop, Scotty. I apologize. You're back in the rotation.
All good.
I don't know where I was going with it, but Sean Strickland is what I want to talk about next, because this guy, all right, UFC Fight Night this past weekend, Strickland gets the call on 6 days' notice. So he didn't have a ton of time to do pre-press before the fight. They got him for 19 minutes, which was a wild 19 minutes, all right? I'm going to review the combination of the pre-fight interview and then the post-fight interview. So he has 6 days' notice. He can't make weight, so they do it at a catch weight of what?
Well, no, they did 205.
They did 205.
Light heavyweight.
Okay, so they agreed to. So it wasn't a catch weight.
No.
It was.
And Nasruddin came in at like 10 under, so I think he was like 193 or 194.
Right. Nasruddin probably. They were probably the same weight by the time they fought because Strickland didn't cut, so he didn't put more on.
Right.
Oh man, this fucking guy, Sean Strickland. So he won the fight, which was huge because
he had to win.
He had to win. Well, I don't know if he had to win. This guy's such a company man and so entertaining at this point. It's like you can become a superstar the way Conor McGregor did it or some of the traditional ones, or you can just Nick Diaz, dog.
Right.
Didn't win every fight, had a run. Sean Strickland is a dog. Now, let me just review some of the things. So he wins in decision, all right? He makes a comment prior to the fight about the French giving up, okay? So he says to this guy, he goes, yeah, this guy's from France. You know, traditionally, it's wild when these guys pull these historical facts. Like they're watching YouTube videos about ancient history, but they're also, he goes, well, the French traditionally give up, right? That's a fucking, you're not only calling out this man, but you're calling out him. It's like rule 101, do not give bulletin board material to the other team. Now, you just tell him that his country is essentially, they're quitters. They are quitters historically. I thought that was a wild stake in the ground right off the bat before the fight.
There's a page out of Chael Sonnen's book where he did that about Brazil.
Right.
And then he had to go down there and fight, and you know.
And then who copied him? The guy that's suing Masvidal right now.
Oh, Colby Covington?
Yeah, Covington did the same thing. Called them animals or something, but he wasn't in Brazil. Okay, so he wins the fight. The post-fight interview was the most insane thing I've ever seen, okay? He went on a fucking rampage about what happened in the stare down, all right? And I totally get it. I got everything that he was saying. He said, listen, everybody, you know, I want to address something. You see me at stare downs, okay? Now, these are two men. In my mind, me and the other guy, we're about to go to war. If you fucking stare me down and try and intimidate me, that triggers, and he said, he apologized to everyone. He said, actually, in a metaphorical world, which I've used before too, like you can say things in a metaphorical world. He said, what it does is it triggers something inside of me where you've just challenged my soul. And I now want to murder you and your entire family. This was fucking on ESPN. He says this stuff, okay? He goes, it hurts him to bring him to places that he doesn't want to be. So he's saying outwardly, like, it hurts me when I get triggered and I go into these places that I don't want to be, right? Which is to think about what you just did to me. I want to now kill you and your entire family. This guy is a savage on all levels.
It's a primal reaction.
Right. But he's so wise. He knows.
Yeah, he's self-aware.
He's completely self-aware and not ashamed of it. And actually, I think it's very therapeutic for him.
Sure.
If not from a warning standpoint, like, listen, I understand the issues that I have that I carry every single day, but don't set me off with a fucking mean mug stare down while we know where we're going. You're not going to win this fight with the stare down. And the fact that you think that that's a tool in your arsenal insults me so much that I go to my bad place and I want to now kill your entire family. He then told a reporter, he said, if you ain't hard, don't look hard, right? Looking at me, he goes, this is the best. He talked about the stare down. He said, this motherfucker's looking at me like he wants to fuck me. I mean, could you feel more? Think about all the women that feel violated over the history of the world from insane, grotesque men that violate women with their eyes or even verbally or physically. This was Sean Strickland saying, you just violated me, bro. You looked at me like you wanted to fuck me, and I actually believe it right now. And now I want to kill your whole extended family. Why are you doing this to me right now? That was insane. He then tells a reporter that he looks like he has diabetes, just out of the blue. Like, took a question from him, and he's like, dude, you look like you have fucking diabetes. And then went on a rant about how much testosterone he has and how he would ass fuck all the beta males in the crowd.
It's funny that you referred to the runtime of the interview, because when I look before the pre and the post interview, the first thing I look at on YouTube is what's the runtime. How this is going to be fun.
How long am I going to get at this? Because I just got goosebumps. I will say it again. I will reiterate. In the history of sports broadcasting, interviewing athletes, no one has been off their rocker and said the things that Sean Strickland says. He is a animal on every fucking level. And I love him. If he is ever on a pay-per-view, I will support that guy's pay-per-view till the end of time. So he goes on this whole thing. Then he starts talking about how there is hope in America, even though the entire crowd is filled with beta cuck fuckheads who he wants to anally rape. Okay. Then he says the man dance. Okay, he's talking about a sparring session with some guy that was on the fight card, Phil Haas, and he refers to sparring as the man dance. It's the hard dick dance. This is where we get our dicks hard. Sparring. This is what this guy's saying on national television. He and then he refers to it, says to this guy, Phil Haas, come on, Phil, let's spar. Let me get my dick into that. He said he wanted to sodomize the man. I mean, he used every term. He goes, okay, so 5-round fights. This guy's spitting knowledge. Like, it's coming from every orifice of the fucking room. He's just bouncing stuff. Now he goes into 5-round fights. And he gets settled in a little bit. And all of a sudden he gets this like Zen-like calmness. And he refers to 5-round fights because it was a 5-rounder, not a 3-rounder. Like,
That's right.
Like,
and I think he's done that the last 3 fights.
Right. So he goes 5-round fights, intimacy. He says equal intimacy. He goes, they really get me off. You really get to see inside a man. You actually get to put your dick inside that man. Okay? It's the best feeling in the world. Now, an even better feeling is to get to break a man.
And break the man that just stared you down like that, right?
Yes. To break another man's soul. He then goes into a story about how he only, this is just pure instructional. Okay, he tells everybody about how he made fun of a guy's suit. There was a reporter that was wearing a white suit and whatever. He says, I own one suit for one reason. Court. He goes, the only reason that I have a suit is for court. And he said, if I can tell you one more piece of information, don't overdress at court because the punishment will be stricter the better you look. You got to look like you belong in the sewer, all right? Because then they will take pity on you. So I wear my brother's suit, and it's too small, and that's my suit. It's the only fucking suit I own. And by the way, I am a highly paid hooker. You tell me where to fight, you tell me how much, and you let me get my dick into that. It was like better than the last time, and the last time was only a couple weeks ago. He, in my opinion, is one of the most entertaining athletes in the history of sports. And, listen, Dana's had a couple of weeks. Did you see the video?
I did. I was pretty disappointed.
I know.
I was pretty disappointed.
It fucking kills me to say it, too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to... Whatever, you can't.
I don't know the situation.
That doesn't. I know it's like we're gonna, but you can't.
You can't.
The funny thing is that people like cancel culture is if it's almost like people that have been canceled wanted to have themselves put out of their misery, like they accepted the cancel. Dana doesn't accept anything. Now he's built an unbelievable product, so his product is him,
I
right?
mean, and you'd think like almost any other sport or whatever, like that would be the headline for the Francis Ngannou dropout, the Sean Strickland short notice, all of the things that he says that is crazy. You start to think about like, not that he's infallible or invincible,
Well,
but
he's insulated.
and he's also trying to launch the slap competition,
Which is
or whatever.
so crazy.
I hate that. And then it's like the timing of that is just
What is the slap competition?
He's got a new show that it's basically a new sport. It's a
hate it.
slapping sport. It's really like, Dana, what did you need more money? And then it's almost like karma. Like, dude, keep your eye on the prize. Build this sport.
It's not beautiful. Jiu-jitsu and wrestling and like that's an art. It's a martial art. What you're doing is like a carny
It's
game or
barbaric.
something.
It's so stupid. It cheapens the brand.
It's
does.
an internet thing.
Yeah. It started on TikTok probably, right?
Yeah.
Fucking TikTok.
Stupid.
Fucking TikTok.
But you know, Dana too has been on record multiple times saying he would never put his hand on a woman.
Of course.
But then here we are.
Yeah, I mean it's karma. It's like the universe talking to you. What's happened.
What's the guy
It's
doing
the
out?
fate of the mechanics of the world. It's not an excuse to do nothing. What's the guy what?
What's the guy in his position out on New Year's Eve in a public place, inebriated like that in Vegas? It's like, what do you
They
do?
were in Cabo.
Oh, they were in
Mexico,
Cabo.
yeah.
They weren't they? Yeah. But
But also
throw your own party.
throw your own party for sure.
And then,
exactly.
and then everybody
I
put
agree.
the phone in the bag and then, whatever.
I love a Leo phone in the bag party.
Yeah.
Migos, you're all set. You're in Cabo. What else do you need? It was.
It's like he's going to have a hard time coming out against other guys in the future with John Jones or other, he just signed an 8-year
Well,
deal.
let's talk
or an
about
8-fight deal.
this whole Ngannou thing. Like, it makes me think about Gino Ojic, right?
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. Gino Ojic. And I'm thinking. So initially, when I heard the news, I said Ngannou, like, dude just doesn't. He's not a dog anymore.
No.
He's lost the dog. Like, because that's like in the prime of your career, saying, you know what? I'm going to leave Tiger. I'm going to leave the PGA. I'm going to go to Live, but there's no one else to play against. So I'm just going to win everything against no competition, even though I was the best. It's a conundrum, right? But then I think about all these guys, Gino, Probert, Wade Belak. You can go down the list, Derek Bugard. You can go down the list, right? This violence in sport, it has consequences, like on the level that these guys are executing on, right? So I say, oh, fuck Francis, he's not a dog anymore. I mean, he became the heavyweight champ,
Yeah.
right? How long?
His journey to that was also pretty remarkable.
dude,
so it's hard to like beat him up.
I know.
But here's my point: is you sign a contract, you have one fight left on the contract, do it.
Go against John and
do it,
and
then go get your $20 million fighting Tyson Fury.
leave
whatever.
Leave
You're
a serious question mark on whether Jones is the GOAT. Take one more.
yeah,
right.
Just do it because
I know,
you've
but
come this far. He thinks that he's advocating for health insurance and other things, and I
that's
don't
bullshit.
believe. Yeah,
but,
it is bullshit.
But here's the problem with that, Michael, is if you take the chance, all right?
Right.
I'm always going to go, you know what? Ngannou's a dog. He took that fight against Jones. He lost. He's going to go fight Fury. I'll still buy the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't lose any stock with me by taking the Jones fight and possibly losing. But I think we're a little bit more purists and we understand like the dog in the fight part of the game, and we respect that. I think fair weather people and TikTokers, and they want that champ rolling in. I don't know. I'm torn. I would have liked to have seen it. I think he'll come back.
It might
Do the Fury fight and then come back.
if Gane wins against Jones, then it proves that Ngannou didn't have to stay because he's already beat Gane.
Well,
Or just that's how the math sort of checks
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
But if
from a
John Jones
ranking.
wins, then you're like, hey, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time is now sitting, holding your belt after you voluntarily left to go fight, in my opinion, a washed-up boxer
What's
for
interesting?
$20 million. And it's like, okay,
Well, it's going to be more than 20 million.
well, whatever it ends up being.
I mean, Connor made a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
I think off the Mayweather fight, but anyways, you know,
To me, Tyson Fury Ngannou isn't Mayweather.
fuck
McGregor.
no, God no. Ngannou's not a showman.
Yeah.
You had two of the greatest showmen in Mayweather and McGregor. Go back and watch the Showtime epilogue of that whole journey. That I still remember it. What an incredible. And that's what catapulted the UFC to the next level, in my opinion. But Jones is on the record saying that he would have dismantled Francis Ngannou.
I believe that. He would have chopped his legs up. He just had
Yeah.
knee surgery. He would have attacked that knee.
Yeah.
And Ngannou would be like, oh, he just had to wrestle Gane in the last win.
I think he knew that he wasn't going to win that fight. I
feel-
think John
I think
Jones,
the exact same thing.
far superior athletic, more just been in martial arts since he was a early teens. Like, he's just built for the fight game,
Totally.
the combat fight game, the UFC fight game,
Yep.
more than Ngannou.
Totally. And I think, too, like, if you look at history with John Jones, to sort of play devil's advocate to this, John Jones, like, has not made it to the octagon several times with the Daniel Cormier experience back in their light heavyweight championship trade-off. And so maybe you don't want to risk it all on a guy that maybe his piss test doesn't, whatever.
No.
I'm just saying
There's
that
too much
there's a lot of different levels to it. And at the end of the day, if you can get both those guys in the octagon, you've been negotiating for 2 years.
Right, but they're not.
Yeah, I know. It's just
1049 eggs. Eggs in New York City right now are 1049.
for 12.
Yeah. Funny you should ask. Yeah. 12 fucking eggs. 1049.
Yeah. Just go to Russ and Daughters and get a bagel and you'll be fine.
I looked at traditionally, like, eggs are like under $4, and that would be high. 1049. 1049. Jordan Peterson had this incredible doctor, scientist, global warming specialist from Caltech and all these other places. And they were talking about pay now or pay later with energy, right? So this scientist goes, let me tell you something. I'm one of the most well-respected, he didn't say this, but I'm putting it in the context of this guy is like the G of all scientists, global warming. He says, since 1900, the globe has warmed 1.3 degrees. It's been the greatest improvement in human civilization over 100 years versus the entire history of Earth. Population growth by 5. The temperature is expected to be raised by another 1.3 degrees in the next 100 years. So in theory, what he said is, this entire global warming thing is a ruse. It's a psyop. It's all bullshit. I didn't know that Richard Dreyfuss has come out as a conservative. And I'm using the word conservative and not Republican because I am neither Republican nor Democrat. I am a conservative. I have conservative values. I am a fiscal conservative. All right. I didn't know Richard Dreyfuss was one. He had an interesting interview with Glenn Beck that I don't know, it just caught me off guard.
Hooper?
Hooper?
It's his character in Jaws, bro.
Oh,
Come on.
Sorry,
Thought you were a
man.
cinephile.
yeah. You hit me with that out of fucking nowhere, Scotty. You have a screensaver. Jaws is your screensaver. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time, yeah.
We were having a debate with Kevin the other day about the boat scene and whether the shark was seen.
Yeah, when Quint first hooks something.
Yeah. And I was trying to explain my rationale, was saying to Kevin, Quinn didn't know, he thought it was a shark. And Dreyfuss said it's a tire.
He says it's like a stingray or like a game fish, but it's not a shark.
Right. And that was Spielberg genius, giving Dreyfuss the ability to have an upper hand on Quinn, who is lifelong seaman, right? It was his card to be accepted onto the boat so that two men could go on a journey together to kill Jaws. It is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it created the summer tentpole movie.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. Lines around the block. Anyways, yeah, that is Hooper. South Dakota. There's a Canadian family-owned company that wants to relocate their business to the state of South Dakota, and they contacted South Dakota's governor, Kristi Noem. I'll tell you what, South Dakota looks like, I mean, you got to have a tough winter, but if you want freedom, that seems like a hell of a place to go. Prevention, CDC, this is incredible. They still release things like they have like they're a legitimate source for our health. Says that a preliminary COVID-19 vaccine safety signal has been identified and is investigating whether the bivalent Pfizer biotech vaccine creates an increased risk of stroke in people 65 and older. You know, I'm thinking about all those times. I still see people with masks on in California walking outside. It is insane. New York City health officials are warning residents that the infectious Omicron subvariant XBB.1.5 may be more likely to infect people who have already been vaccinated.
Perfect.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. You know, these people, like, I want to be friends with one of them that went on and posted about having their third booster. I want to know one of these people outside of my parents.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We should just jump ahead and say R.I.P. Al and Marlene.
No.
I love them to death.
Your mom was just here recently again,
She
right?
was, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. But heavens, for heaven's sake. For heaven's sake.
I think now we just have to put positive vibes into the universe so that you don't compound that.
You're right.
Because I regret getting it, but I try to not get myself worked up about all of the things that are unfolding.
You imagine you had 4 more.
Yeah.
That would be, I don't know if you'd be with us, Michael.
You know what? You might be right.
Thank God.
I know.
Thank God we found each other. Hunter Biden asked a judge to deny his 4-year-old daughter from taking his surname. Now, some could say he was being proactive and said, listen, our surname is about to be fucking toxic. You don't want the Biden surname. I've watched videos of President Biden from 30 years ago lying about his education that are so insane. He goes on, talks about how he has 3 degrees, highest in his class. Everything he said was categorically false. This guy... Let's just sit back and have a round of applause for Sleepy Joe. Like, he's on fire right now. He is untouchable until it just all goes up in flame. It'll be like, you know, that good dry firewood that you buy? Like the grocery store firewood. It's almost like it's so cheap it just burns up instantly. You just watch $9 just burn in front of you, and then you're stuck with no more heat. It's like an oxymoron for torture. Joe is going to go up in flames, and it is coming, boy. It is coming quickly. Let's see what else I got here. 7 virtues of a warrior. This I really like. Rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness, prosperity, honesty, sincerity, honor, loyalty. 5 keys to health: rational nutrition, sensible exercise, efficient rest, proper hygiene, positive attitude. And 3 states of mind: alertness, clear mind, emotional balance, Fudoshin and Mushin. It is so wild that these 2 words, I saved this 2 weeks ago. In my audition today, I have to tell my buddy who I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, you're thinking about the money, Billy. You need more Fudoshin, emotional balance. And then I tell him he's Mushin. Stop counting coins. You're Mushin. Mushin means you're soft. This is the ether working in crazy fucking ways. I'm telling you. anything else?
Did you?
Oh, Marion Hossa. I read this. Hockey Bukkake is the greatest Instagram account of all time. This guy.
I'm glad you turned me onto it. It is great.
I mean, this guy, he must do this as a full-time job. I don't know where he finds this shit. I didn't know that the reason Marion Hossa retired was because of eczema. And I have eczema. Nash has eczema. I think it's a genetic thing.
That can't be true.
It is. I'll tell you right now. A combination of sweat and bacteria from his hockey equipment dating back to 2013 led to his retirement. Now, players, you think NHL, they get as much equipment as they want. That is very true. Chris Chelios wore the same shoulder pads for 24 years. I think they just kept getting repaired and rebuilt. So when you say he wore the same equipment since 2013 and it led to a bacteria infection, my body told me there was no way because my skin was almost like breaking. It was leaking from the wounds and I was missing practices. I needed a drug called cyclosporine to combat the condition. I was still in great shape. I felt good, but I came home. I was afraid to touch my kids because my skin was not in good shape. Those pills are not easy. Those are hard pills. I always had to go to the hospital to check my blood. He goes on. Fucking eczema, dude. You know, Kim Kardashian has bad eczema. Like, she has breakouts where she can't leave the house. I get it around my eyes. I get it in certain places when it's dry. My sweet little boy Nash gets it behind his knees from sweating and working hard. Yeah, I just thought it was crazy. What an account. This guy, if you're not following this guy's account.
You know that Crosby has worn the same jocks since he was in like Pee-wees, and McDavid has worn the same socks since he was in like juniors.
I can't believe Scotty jumped you on those McDavid sock scoop. You weren't going to go there?
I wasn't going to go there.
Because of how I would react?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? How would you react?
It's so fucking ridiculous. It's like, dude, first of all, I used to look at guys that didn't wear socks and skates as a foreign creature.
I didn't wear socks when I played.
It doesn't surprise me.
It's a look good, feel good, I think. Like,
my dad was always like,
you
you can feel the ice more if you don't wear socks.
Oh my fucking God. Well, what's funny now is the skates you heat up so much to actually mold a skate boot out of the oven, you have to have socks on. You'll singe your skin if you do it properly.
I just think if you're McDavid,
here was an
opportunity for you to start your own sock line, Connor McDavid socks.
Oh, make a fortune.
And make a fortune.
Every
kid would wear them. It'd be like the Jordan
stuffer.
logo. Absolutely.
Yeah. But you know, there's nobody in the NHL that understands that.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, talk about the NHL, pathway to hockey. Governor DeSantis.
Oh, boy.
So they're throwing this thing that, they're still throwing it. It's called the Pathway to Hockey. It's a summit during the All-Star game. And essentially, anyone that wasn't white was welcome to it, including LGBTQ plus TI, W, X, Y, and Z, and then anyone else, except if you were white. So DeSantis... This is why DeSantis is essentially putting himself in running position, because it's just wiseness. It's like fucking Trump, okay? I like, there's no hope for that train. DeSantis says, you know what? Florida, we don't stand for this, okay? You're not going to say this to the people of Florida. If you do something in Florida, everyone is welcome. We don't prejudice in Florida. Okay, you're allowed to do things unless the law says you're not allowed to do it.
The NHL immediately backtracked and said it was a mistake and all of these things.
Wow.
They got caught up by somebody that was bigger than them and his home turf, and he did not.
It's just embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
The virtue signaling, and us as fans, hockey fans. It's like, let us just enjoy hockey. We don't want to fight on this. We don't want to make a stink about it. I get it. I understand. But it's like the Dana White decision to the slap thing. Like, I want it all good.
Yeah.
I want it all good to come from a good place and stop with the virtue signaling. We are more often frightened than hurt. We suffer more in imagination than reality. Seneca. I have no idea who Seneca is. I saw this quote. We are more often frightened than hurt. We suffer more in imagination than reality. It's great.
Totally. We get in our own head, you know?
Let's look at the real pandemic. 25% of 18 plus are on mental health meds. 40% of kids entering high school are overweight. Over 300 million antidepressants prescribed in 2021. 70% of Americans are on meds. 50% of adults have diabetes, pre-diabetes. 10 million cancer deaths annually.
The lines at the pharmacy, the drive-through pharmacies, it's unbelievable.
Oh, drive-through pharmacies.
I'm telling you, it looks like it's the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah.
People are willing to wait like it's, you know, Shake Shack on the day they first opened.
They
you know,
don't
or
even
something.
want to
It's
get out of
insane.
their fucking car.
It's madness. I saw it in Indiana. I see it here in California. It's unbelievable. It's sad. I'm not saying that people need their medicine.
No,
too.
I know, but
But
Jesus, get out of the car and walk in. I mean, that might be the reason. Get some fresh air, some vitamin D. Scotty, what's the Adderall supply like out on the streets these days? Not the streets, like the.
We're running strong, personally. I don't know about other people.
But the pharmacies are good. They're in stock.
In stock.
Okay, good.
I got a
Thank God.
question. I saw the new series, The Last of Us. Did you watch that?
I
on
watched
HBO?
it. I watched the first one.
Pedro Pascal. I
I like Pedro. I like Pedro. I loved him in Triple Frontier. I like him.
Yeah.
It's not my type of show.
The first 20 minutes, I was not sure it was my type of show either. But now that they've started the adventure, I guess.
I have 20 minutes to go in the first episode. But what else? I watched The Whale.
Oh yeah.
Holy fuck, man. I don't recommend it for anyone. I mean, it's a really depressing movie.
I haven't watched. I'm happy for Brendan Fraser.
I am too, and I don't want to feel I don't want anything to make me feel more depressed in that fucking movie.
I went and saw a movie with my mom and sister when I was back home.
What?
Everybody laughs at me, but I went and saw the Whitney Houston movie.
Oh my God.
I loved it.
Really?
I really did.
Really?
And do you know what's funny is that I don't know why this is, but the tragedy, the second half of the movie or the ending, you know, is very tragic. But the whole come up with her and Clive Davis and the way that, you know, they told the story and everything, and they didn't shy away from her. She was a lesbian in the early days.
I should see this.
And I tell you what, all my friends were asking me in Fort Wayne. I went to a show the night I went and saw the movie. And so I'm at a concert setting, having a good time, and my buddies were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I just spent the afternoon crying in a movie theater with my mom and my sister."
Beautiful.
But it's like,
Beautiful.
I mean, the greatest national anthem to ever be performed live. She's absolute legend. She beat records nobody thought she'd beat with the Beatles. So
Yeah.
the story.
Don't kill the fucking story for us, Michael. 1 in 5,000 young men have heart issues from COVID vaccine. Yearly commotio cordis cases, 15. Rarely over the age of 20. 1,598 athletic cardiac arrests since January 2021, 69% of those fatal. Average athlete cardiacs before vaccine was 29 years old, okay? So science ignores this. That's why people ask questions. Yeah, you're right. That's it. That's all I got. Episode 40.
Oh, you don't want to do a little hockey?
Oh, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the Robin Leonard
Oh,
story
fuck.
is
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
wild.
yeah. Holy shit. I don't want to laugh about this because it seems like it's a serious thing, but this is a wild story. Robert Leonard bought a snake farm.
Yeah.
In what state?
Missouri.
In Missouri. Mm-hmm. Did he used to play for the St. Louis Blues?
No.
All right. So who knows? Don't worry about that. And there's a lawsuit now, and I think I think he's filed for personal bankruptcy, so they can't come at him with any liabilities. But he did borrow some money, and the snakes started breeding on their own. I just was thinking, what the fuck does this place look like?
I know.
All these snakes and these anacondas, and he stole some of them, the pythons, or didn't steal them. He took them because he owned them, but he hadn't paid. It is the most insane thing I have ever heard.
It's insane.
And I want somebody to go into this a little bit deeper. And the guy that he bought the snake farm from, His wife killed him.
Yeah. So this
is like Tiger King.
It's feeling like Tiger King.
It's going in that direction. I think this is just the start of it. What else you got?
So I'm pretty, I got back to town and got to see some Kings games.
I don't want to talk about the Kings.
Okay, well, can we talk about how Seattle just took over second place in the Pacific?
Yeah, and Carolina's in fucking second place in the league. I'll tell you this. All right. I guess I only watch one team, and I said we'll talk about this, so it's good. Tampa Bay. All right, all these teams, Boston, Scotty, your Bruins, oh, they're the greatest. Peaking too early.
Yep.
Peaking too early. It is etched in stone. All right. The ebbs and flows of a season and momentum. You do not want to peak too early because, well, there's only one place to go, and that's down. Tampa Bay, and I watched this, and this fucking Kucherov and Braden Point. Stammer hasn't got his 500th yet, but like Hagel, this Hagel kid.
He's tearing it up.
What happened to him? I don't know. Maybe it was the long talks we had at Sunset over the summer break. I don't know. This team is ascending. Okay, they're getting better and better each week. Cole, Pitlick, or whatever the young defenseman's name is. Just watch. Okay, I know the game more than any of the talking heads that you listen to. Outside of, I really like Ryan Whitney, and I think and Shane O'Brien and Scotty Upshall. I think they're coming into their own nicely. Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win the Stanley Cup. They're a force to be reckoned with. They're just peaking at the right time. It's the second half. Cooch hasn't even turned it on yet. You guys, you want to talk about McDavid? All fine. He's a fucking human highlight reel. But how much better does he make the players around him is the question. And what Kucherov does is it's immeasurable. He is the best player in the NHL for what he does to everyone else around him and how much space he gives everyone else. Braden Point, Stammer. This team is rolling, and they're going to peak at the right time.
Where do you put the Bruins then?
I mean, they're great.
No, where do you think they finish? Predictions.
I think they're going to run out of gas. I think they're going to finish high, and they're going to get.
So losing the conference finals.
Yeah, maybe the first round. Who knows?
First round.
You're going to have like Tampa playing Toronto, Boston playing fucking Carolina. I mean the East is going to be a war zone to get out of.
Totally.
And if you peak too early, that's not a good thing, because you know what you have to do? You got to find that reset button 2 weeks before the season starts. Detroit, it happened to them occasionally, but dude, that was the Detroit Red Wings, like 2002, those two, they had Hall of Famers stacked on top of each other. All right. They had Hall of Famers riding under in the luggage fucking carousel. Okay. They could just go, all right, guys, we got to turn it on. And they were good. Just composure, right?
Yeah, they've been there, done that.
Yeah,
the team's comfortable.
Yeah, I just. That's,
do you think even the night after that game in LA that you guys went to, do you think that like them talking Russian that night? I mean, they
something
kind of
happened
turned that night.
Something happened.
Something did happen that night.
Something happened. Those guys, the talking Russian.
Yeah,
you start to hear the Russian. It's not. It's being yelled, and it's Sputnik, and it's like Georgia Russian. It's greasy. It's in the tunnels. It'll kickstart anything. That's it. We're good. Episode 40. Good to have you back, Scotty.
Thanks.
Give me send us out with a little.
I'm empty.
He's empty.
Cut it in.
He's empty. Episode 40. No gruffs given. We'll see you next week.
Action Park
Media.